Hello, and welcome to another Steel Division Divisional overview. And today we're going to take a look at the 1st Special Service Brigade, the new DLC division, which is the closest thing we got to a Special Forces division in-game. They have 33 activation points, a lot of infantry and airplane and support slots, and everything else is rather standard. Their economy is very much fluctuating, as you got 100 points in A, which is damn good, 80 points in B, which is not very good, and then 160 points in C, which is really bloody good. So it's very much up and down and then up again. So, well, let's take a look at the units that are available. Recon, everything is 2-star except for the stat counts. At the bottom, you got Scout 30 AU and Recce 30 AU. The Recce is just 2-man with 2 SMGs and smoke, while Scouts do have 2 Bren guns. They're both pretty decent. I prefer taking the Recces personally, as they do come with a Humbler, which is a much better fire support vehicle, whereas Scouts are much cheaper. You can of course get out Morris LRC. It does have that blue Royal Navy paint job. It's pretty pants. I wouldn't even bother. It does have that both boys anti-tank gun, but it's only 3 AP, so heck, even a half-track you'll have a hard time knocking one of them out. And then B phase, you got some Staghound, which is some decent light armor to get you by. So, pretty standard recon, mainly infantry based, and a lot of veterancy. Infantry is, well, the best part of the Commando brigades. You got a lot of 2-star units, and this is one of the few, well, really the only United or British Commonwealth decks that actually have infantry that can stand up by themselves without you requiring to use spam tactics. So we got Commando leaders, which have 2 Sands, 2 Thompsons, and Frat TNT. So pretty good CQC infantry, and of course a 2-star veterancy. You want to keep these guys a little bit back just to give the leader bonus. You got Commando Assault, which are essentially your stormtroopers, with 3 Stens, 3 Tommies, as well as the TNT from before. You want to get these guys in nice and close, and they will devastate any infantry unit. You got the Commando Fusil Marines, which are a bunch of French blokes. This is an 11-man squad with 2-star veterancy, with 3 SMGs, 6 Leon fields, and 2 Bren guns. So very much a more standard rifle squad that has good CQC capability still, but can hold its own somewhat at long range. At the same time, I wouldn't be doing those long range engagements against Panzer Grenadiers or Feldjägers, as it's still only 2 Bren guns, and even a 2-star veterancy doesn't really save the Bren gun. But you do have Commando support squads, which are British infantry that actually have a proper goddamn machine gun, the Vickers K. This is much better than the Bren gun from before. Higher rate of fire, a little bit less accurate, and it also does, heck, over double the high explosive power. So, a damn good bloody machine gun. These guys can hold their own against highly vetted Panzer Grenadiers at long distance, and you want to be using these guys to stun everything up. You also got the Commando 6, which are a 6-man sniper team. Well, only one of them's a sniper, the rest have M1 Garand semi-automatic rifles. These are your snipers. Unlike the Canadian or airborne snipers, they don't have the recon optics, so you can have a bit of a harder time spotting enemy units. But because you're a 6-man squad, you are much more survivable. So these guys can stay on the field much longer, and if you do get engaged at close distance, you do have Garand, so you can fight back rather effectively. A damn good squad, but you only get 2 of them, which is not a lot. You got more Commando leaders into B phase. You got Commando Vickers HMGs, which are Vickers HMGs, and then the Commando Royal Marines, which are pretty similar to the Fusil Marines, but they do come with a Piat now. And then into C phase, you got a lovely choice of a lot of Bren gunners or a lot of Assault Pioneers. It's really down to choice. You got CQC guys, and then just regular Bren guys. They're cannon fodder. Well, Assault Pioneers are a bit better because they can at least put a big hole into a Pioneer or Panzer Grenadier squad inside a forest, but they're not exactly the best fighting infantry units. Take a look at tanks. You got 3 options. You got a Sherman 2DD, You got a Sherman 5, which is a later model Sherman, and then a Command Churchill, respectively in A, B, and C phase. These Shermans are pretty damn important, because you're going to see later on you don't have any anti-tank guns. So these are your only reliable, somewhat effective, long-range anti-tank weapons. So you want to have the Shermans out. You pretty much need to get Shermans in your deck, as they're your only armor option, essentially, to help you out against other tanks. And you got the Churchills into C phase, which is good because there's a 15 armor vehicle, so it can tank quite a lot of shots. Take a look at support. We got the Duck W for A phase supply, and then you got the C phase version, so you got nothing in B for resupply purposes. So most people only take one Duck W, and you want to keep it alive, essentially. You want to keep it alive. You got the Centaur 4, which is similar to the Cromwell, but it does have 2 extra armor, and that's really it. It also has some veterancy, which helps out quite a bit. Some Dingo command vehicles, just for some extra command units. And then C phase, you got Avras and Crocodiles, so you pretty much got all the Churchills, or all the heavily armored Churchills in this deck, which is bloody lovely. What's not so lovely, though, is the anti-tank tab. So you got Commando Tank Busters. Now these are PH Grudge, but they got 2 PH and they have 2 extra accuracy compared to other regular PH troopers. So they do actually have a good chance of hitting enemy tanks. And because they're 2-star and have 3 SMGs, they can hold their own rather well at CQC against other less well-equipped close quarters infantry. But that's all you got till C phase, because B phase, no AT guns, A phase, no AT guns. Like I said before, East Sherman tanks are going to be really bloody important for you holding your own in the early stages of the game. C phase, you can get some 6-pounders, so they're really overdue in C phase. You can get some 17-pounders as well, which is good long-range heavy anti-tank guns, and also some Wolverines for the more mobile anti-tank weaponry. So it's pretty good once you get into C phase, because you can start dealing with Tigers and Panthers with your Befora, or just enough anti-tank to really deal with them. It's not overkill, but it's enough to get by and destroy enemy heavy armor. Anti-air's also bare bones. You got Staghound JA, it's pretty pants. Then you got the Bofors. You got some A phase Bofors and then some C phase Bofors. That's really it. That's all you get. Artillery, not a lot of options either, but what you do get is great. You got 2-star mortars, either 2-inch or 3-inch models, so both pretty damn good to get, just because you get quite a good amount of them, and the 2-star veterancy helps out quite a bit. We got the Morris, we're going to get back here a little bit later. We got some 25-pounders, you get 4 of them per card, which is a damn good number, and then some Churchill off-map party. Now really, the Morris LRCOP is it's the unit of this deck. It's the 5-minute off-map rocket barrage, and I've talked about it before in the unit of the week. Essentially, you want to use it on the huge area barrage effect, because it drops down all the ammunition in the span of 5 minutes. That's 960 rockets. I think that comes down to like 200 odd rockets a minute. So it's a lot of rockets. You essentially want to use the Morris to shut down a flank of the map for 5 minutes during B phase, where you don't have much economy or much an array of anti-tank weaponry, just to deter the enemy from attacking you on that flank. Now as well, if you were to choose the smaller AoE radius effects for the Morris LRC, it drops down all the rockets much faster, I believe 30 seconds to 1 minute. So if you really just want to blow up an area and get as many kills as you can in a short time span, you want to be using that short range, or not short range, but smaller area of effect barrage. It's a bloody useful unit. It's good. It's very good. I wouldn't really say it's overpowered, Joe. Airplanes, you got a lot of naval units, or aircraft carrier base planes. You got some Wildcats, these are F4Fs. They got a very low payload, only 45 kilogram bombs, or 50 kilogram bombs it's saying, but It's not really enough to get a lot of kills. You may be able to knock out an AG-18 or a single AT gun, but you don't want to be using this for stunning up enemy units. You want to be using it for precision bombing on a budget. You got Seafire, which is a recon plane, which actually has firepower. It's got 220 mils and two 303 machine guns. It's rather light on the armament side, but also considering it's a recon plane that goes 625 kilometers an hour and can dogfight, yeah, it's pretty good. It's not the best to dogfight run on run because you just don't have the firepower, but with a supporting plane, you will do a damn good job. And just having it fly around, spot units, and if they bring up a Messerschmitt, you can just call back the Seafire, and you don't have to worry about it getting shot down, unlike using the more Cessna-centric slow planes. So you got the Hellcat Mark 1, which is a Grumman F6F. It is pretty much a standard H-Far rocket. You can also get more of these in the B phase as well. Precision bombing for knocking out PAC-40s, AT guns, etc. B phase, you got Seafire. It actually has 2 extra 303 machine guns, so it is a bit better in the dogfighting department. Once again, you want to be using these in packs of 2s, just so you have a bit of extra firepower. But they're not bad. They are not bad planes at all. That 1 HC, I'd say, does make a bit of a difference. This plane is a little bit slower than its recon counterpart. And you got another 2-star recon plane. And then you got a Hellcat bomber plane, which comes with 230 kilogram bombs in B phase, and the C phase model comes with 450 kilogram bombs, so a rather big boom. Yeah, and then you got some more Seafires with high veterancy, and that's really it for the SSB deck. Let me show you my deck. Once again, as per usual, this is really a personal preference. Feel free to really change what you like. Deck description or deck code will be down below, but if we just take a look real fast, mainly just recon infantry, just to spread them out, and I do like using those humbullets a lot. Infantry, if you don't take everything you can in A phase, and in B phase, I take 1 card of Commando Vickers and 1 card of Royal Marines. You may want to get rid of Vickers and use just more Royal Marines for more regular infantry support, but I like having that somewhat long range machine gun firepower. And then the Bren group, I highly recommend taking 1 card of Bren groups into C phase, as you just don't have that much infantry, and just having some run, somewhere, with some sort of gun, not even to kill stuff, but just like Earthsat's troop, and just to hold a building, or just to hold a little bit of map for fire support to help out, is a damn good choice. You can just take all Special Forces infantry and go from there, though it can get a little bit risky. And you also got to realise, you can buy all of these Bren groups in 1 tick in C phase, so they're really cheap. You can easily get all these out. Tanks, we take all the Shermans. We don't take the Churchills, we're just going to take some Churchills later on, and because in A and B you have no anti-tank guns, your Shermans are so important for locking down the enemy and stopping them from doing any major tank pushes, because that is your major weakness. So you want to have Shermans on the field where necessary to cover the open ground. The Sherman Mark 5s do work rather well into C phase. Support, we got 1 supply truck in A and then some more into C phase. We got 1 center. These are really good, as just like the Cromwells, they have a 1.2 kilometer range for long range fire support. Great for knocking out PAC-38s, and just, it's a pretty damn good. Just a nice tank in A phase. The Dingo just for some extra leaders, because only other leaders are the Commando leaders. And then Churchill Crocodiles for pretty much just some heavy tank fire support. Anti-tank, you want to take both cards of Commando Busters. That's fact. You want to have both. And you want these guys with the infantry. You preferably want to try and spread them out all over the map, essentially. I did forget they do also come with a Riley's Jeep with a machine gun on top. And then C phase, just 1 card of 17 pounders and 1 Wolverine. Which is enough to deal with most most heavy armor threats. Anti-air, 1 Bofors, really all you need. Artillery, we take 1 card of the 2-inch mortars, 1 card of the 3-inch mortars, just to get you through A phase. It's really more than enough mortars, and if you use a smoke effectively, you can easily attack towns. The Morris LRC OP to pretty much buy us time in B phase is rather expensive to get, but like I said before, it shuts down an entire area of the map. And then the 25 pounders for your more regular artillery spam. And airplanes, we kind of got one of everything. We've got Seafire in A phase and a Hellcat in A phase. I do prefer taking Hellcat to the Wildcat, as it can dish out more damage. It's much more reliable. We've got Seafire fighters to help us out in B. Some more Hellcat rocket planes, because I really do like these planes, and they do act as rather decent fighters as well. And then you got the Hellcat with the heavy bombs and C phase for your heavy bunker busters. So, the pros of this deck. You got really good infantry. These are statistically the best British infantry that you can get in game. You got A and C money. By God, you get a lot of money in both phases, especially C. You're just rolling in dough, printing off that dosh. The cheesy off-map artillery unit is great. It's so bloody useful. I love it. I absolutely love it. And then you also got heavy tanks. This is a rather infantry-focused deck. You could argue it's pretty much very similar to a paratrooper deck in a sense. But you got 15 armor tanks to help you out in C phase, meaning that you can slug it out somewhat with more of those heavy armor tanks, such as Tigers, Panzer IVs, Mortars, etc. Heavily armored gunned, I should say. Cons of the deck is the main one is the lack of AT guns. If your opponent has a lot of tanks and realizes, hey, there's an open field, I can just push here, and he just dominates you, there's not much you can do. You can't exactly ambush enemy tanks. You can somewhat with the Shermans, but you can't hide it in a forest. You have to move the Shermans round, and once again, they are exposed. And just not having AT guns, just not having a single AT gun, is a huge detriment. Because you can just put an AT gun essentially everywhere to cover a field from a tank attack, and losing that really hinders you. The B phase eco's trash. In B, you don't have much money. Fortunately, a lot of the infantry and a lot of units still are pretty cheap, so it's not too big of an issue. But it can be a pain bringing out Shermans and bringing out planes to help you fight. You run out of infantry quite a bit, because you don't have that much infantry to begin with. You only get them in packs, all your 2-star dudes, you get in packs of 4s or packs of 2s or 3. You don't really get an awful lot, so it's vital to keep them alive. You do have at least the Bren groups or the Assault Pioneers later on to help buffer that in, but they're not really great infantry by themselves. And finally, this is the biggest thing you have to take in consideration with the Commando Brigade, is that this is one of the most map-dependent divisions. On an open map such as Show, you will get absolutely dominated, as you just can't find the open road during A and B, and if your opponent is somewhat competent, he's going to just exploit it. But on maps such as St. Mary Eglise, and more forestry area maps, you will have a damn good time. So, before you even pick the Commando Brigade, you want to, if you're playing in a custom lobby ish, you want to take in consideration if the map that you're playing can shoot your playstyle, and the playstyle being very infantry focused, very close range, and trying to have decent choke points to stop enemy tank pushes. And that really sums up the division part, or deck building part, of this video. So let's see how these guys actually perform in a battle. And we are back. We are on Compiat. We got Yuejin demonstrating the Commando Brigade, and O'Sharana as the Troph SS Panzer Division. Now, before we even take a look at Eugene deck, we gotta look at the most important part. Is this map compatible with the Commando Brigade? And well, let's take a look. So you got a town over here, a lot of CQC action, good amount of forest, got some airplane hangars here, a lot of good cover. This is going to be great for the infantry play, especially in close ranges. There's quite a few angles of attack that allows you to get your commando assaults very close by. And then you got the right side of the map, and this is really the weakness here. As you can get some Shermans, and they can somewhat hold the open field, but if, let's say, O'Sharana rolls to get a Firefly, the Shermans can't do anything. They can't even hit the Firefly from range. So this is really going to be the major weakness to Yuejin on his map. At least he has a little bit of cover here for him to take advantage of, like a Sherman or two. But attacking into here with potential MG42s, 5-sport vehicles that Oceana can bring up, it may be a bit of a pain in the butt. But at least half of the map works rather well. And just as long as he can stop any major pushes from coming down the airfield, he's going to be good as gold. Now, if you take a look at his deck, it is pretty similar to the one that I built before. And a major difference is he does not take a Morris and tends to get more mortar units instead. I find this a very interesting choice. I always think the Morris is a rather vital unit. But it works here for Yuejin, so I'm not going to complain. I can see why he'd want to get more mortars, as they're cheaper and they're more lasting firepower on the field. They last longer than 5 minutes, is what I'm trying to say. And the main thing is he doesn't take any brand groups. He's going all ballsy out and he's just taking Commando style infantry. So once he runs out of infantry, all his 2 stars, yeah, that's it. He really has nothing to fall back on like using Bren groups. But he has a good amount of planes. It's all rather similar. An extra center here. Really, for the Commando deck, there's not too many variations. Just due to the lack of activation points, and you don't get much in terms of unit diversity, especially in the more vehicle-centric tabs. You're gonna be getting a lot of the same units. So let's speed this up and get going, and we'll see how Yuejin is deploying at the start, as both sides are taking their time, and off we go. So let's see what Eugene's doing over here. So he's playing rather heavily into town, getting 1 infantry in it just to hold the airfield, really just to make sure he at least has some map control, and then a little bit on the right. He's going to bring in 1 Sherman onto the right with an infantry and recon. We got 1 mortars here, and these guys are going to be heading into the more central part of the town. And we got some guys heading leftwards. A lot of infantry just going into the left side of the town. But he's going to be using mortars. I know his mortars are very important. Not really for a high explosive aspect. You know, that is also pretty damn useful for mortars. But really the smoke, just blocking line of sight, so he can get his infantry close range, is really going to be Eugene's major advantage here. Because Panzer Grenadiers can still be a rather nasty threat when you don't have Commando support nearby. But he's going to be unloading his infantry, just some scouts. And he has 2 Piat squads help deal with enemy armor. And the Piat's going to be more than enough to deal with the half-tracks, the Panzer IIs, etc. Especially in a close range fight such as this. So we've got Commando Soch unloading. The scouts are taking some fire from the Spar troops. And the Panzer Grenadiers as well, so they're not in the best position. And we've got some Fusil Marines, as well as some Commando Soch unloading his own. He does have a leader on each flank to give him that lovely 3-star veterancy. And really he's going to be down to using his Commando Soch and just getting him close to the Panzer Grenadiers. As you can see over here, he has managed to get close, firing the Tommies and Sten guns. You know, he isn't going to be staying there for too long, as he was taking fire. I think he's taking shots from the half-track. And he's going to be using a mortar to help out stun the Panzer Grenadiers. On the right-hand side, he's making a little bit of progress with the Sherman. The Pack 30 having just a hard time to kill it, because it's a Pack 38. And just some scouts and a sniper team moving up. It's going to be a rather hard time. It's going to be a bit of a slow progress taking that area with his infantry and it's available. And just having that Commando support does give him much map control, which is pretty much free, so you might as well. I think he may have just used a Recon. I can't use a Recon squad, but now thinking about it, really Commando supports are the best units, They do have that long range capability. Fusil Marines have been stunned up. Here he goes, smoke, blocking line of sight, 4 out 222. And on the far left down side, the scouts haven't took a single casualty, and he has smoked them himself to save him from any undue firepower. But they're going to need some more fire support because these Panda Grenadiers are flanking around Commando. So to get in that frag grenade or TNT charge, gets a good hit, but the half track was shooting at it. And the Commando tank buster is going to be coming in and really get the hit. And they both miss. Even though it does have 8 accuracy, they do still suffer from the curse of the Piat. But it's going to be enough to force our half track back for now. And really, these Panda Grenadiers at the flank are really the trouble doers here. He needs to move his Commando so getting close and completely destroying, but he's going to be getting some infantry to deal with them. We got the Boiter Cromwell, which is one of the 2 scary units that Sariana can bring out. It does have that long range fire support, and because Yuejin does not have 1.2 kilometer anti-tank weaponry till sea phase, he's going to have a hard time killing it, especially when his Sherman has just got rapid damage. And also a Firefly, by God, I'm quite surprised we haven't actually seen a Firefly. Because on this map against this division, it's the perfect combination. Heck, even the Shermans themselves have trouble penetrating that British-German tank destroyer. And using that to just push through the open slowly with a Cromwell backing it up, you just easily gain all of his ground. But Osarana is very much focusing on the town area. And you gotta realize he's at a 30-point disadvantage in any phase, so it's gonna be hard to afford and to really attack during this initial stage. His best bet is just trying to whittle down Eugene's infantry and then just attack through fire support and vehicles. Really, all the fire support vehicles is one of Sarana's greatest advantages against the Commando tank. Because as long as you can deal with the Shermans and stay out 200 meters of any towns, you're pretty much good. Though Yuejin is bringing up a Sherman of his own to help even the scores on the left-hand flank. And he's moving his Commando Fusils and the Scouts to try and take back that ground. And the Panda Grenadiers and the Spur Troops going to be engaging, but with mortars coming down and against 2-star infantry, not going to work too well. He's going to get his Commando tank busters very close. And honestly, that's a good idea. Commando tank busters are great CQC infantry. As you can see, they're holding their own against the Panda Grenadiers, completely destroying them with only 1 casualty to the tank busters. And just look at your smoke go. That is beautiful smoke. Blocking line of sight down the road, so the Panzer IIs can't get fire support, and his Fusil Marines and the infantry just getting in close, getting the kills. And that's exactly how you're doing it. Now he's using the tank buster to get in close so he can kill the Panzer II. And look, gets the kill. Just that's how you use smoke in just an assault in general. The Panzer Grenadiers are now summed up. The fire support vehicles have no idea where the infantry are. And yeah, Eugene's going to be capturing the more northern area of the town now after clearing up the left-hand side, using the Sherman and close-range fire support. And it's doing really well for Yuejin, getting that slow +1 point advantage, and really any advantage, any ground that you can take during A phase is extremely important, because once again, to B, you have to hunker down. You can't really afford to do any major assaults. You don't even have the units to really do any major assaults. And for Yuejin, his major problem that he's going to have to face with this match is trying to keep his infantry alive. He's done a pretty good job making sure he hasn't took too many infantry casualties. Like, I haven't even think he's lost a single full squad yet. So he is right on track to taking this so far. And just being preservative with the infantry it's so bloody important. Especially for Yuejin, considering he doesn't have any Bren gunners to fall back on. But he's slowly moving up, taking ground into the town. As Osarana brings in the reinforcements. Sarana's kind of focusing on the right hand side a bit, using his Boiter Cromwell, but gonna have a little bit of trouble dealing with that Sherman DD. Yeah, the Pack 38, yeah, it's not even gonna kill it. Here it's gonna be forcing it to fall back at least. And it just keeps bouncing. It just keeps bouncing. And like I said, a Firefly over here would do absolute wonders You do have some airplanes. We've got one Hellcat Mark 1. Going to be doing a strafing run on the Cromwells. And using the airplanes and the air superiority is going to be rather important for Yuejin, especially in the B phase, as that's going to be the best way to keep tanks at bay. And also considering Retrofithists can get some pretty good AA. They can get the Werberins and a Flak 88. And some 2-star Messerschmitt as well. So trying to have control of the skies is going to be pretty important for Yuejin. And it's just using its artillery extremely effectively. It's too bad that Saranac hasn't got mortar half track of his own, because knocking out these mortar pieces would have definitely saved him quite a lot of hassle. And considering the mortars are only 3-man squads, they're rather easy to kill. Now you got one Duck DW, or Duck W, being brought out. And this is going to be his only supply truck until C phase. And we are going to be hitting B phase very shortly. And it's not going to be looking too good for Yuejin economically, right? So we have a boy to Firefly now in the field. We got a second Sherman too. So he's really trying to do his best to capture the airplane hangars over here. But the major issue is he doesn't have any infantry to really support. He did lose his sniper squad. And he can't be affording to do major, pushes in the open field. Because that's just going to be rather costly. And still has a lot of his infantry alive in the town. It's very nice +1 point advantage. And just good defensive positions overall. Nice thing about this section of the town, you can got these forests here. You can place Commando tank busters. You got nice choke points to choke in the armor and get some good kills. It's all very defendable, and you got fallback areas too. It's not just one giant blob of towns. You got more buildings behind it you can fall back to just in case. So it's a good defensive location. Now Sharana really should be focusing on trying to knock out the Shermans, knock out those tanks, so he can push in the open ground, because that is his major advantage. A boy to Cromwell over here, just popping in shots to the side, will do wonders. And if he can capture all of his ground, that's a huge amount of just map control. And then from there, he can flank into the town and potentially capture and win it. And he's going to begin a Tiger Rip, or not a Tiger Rip, but just a standard 2-star Tiger. It's going to be useful in knocking out the Sherman and for some fire support, but really what Sharana needs, if he wants to take back his town, is more infantry. He can get pioneers, but yeah, he just needs more infantry really. Fortunately, the Tiger is probably going to stay alive, as there's no real anti-tank threat that he has to worry about in B phase. But really, it's just going to come down to an artillery strike and moving in with some infantry to try and trap that town. And just as long as that doesn't happen, Eugene's going to have a very easy time holding his ground. Commando supports on Sherman, keeping the Panther Grenadiers at Belvia. And this Firefly, means now he's going to be attacking, keeping the Firefly a little bit back. And Eugene's very smart, falling back his Shermans into a bit of cover, so they're not completely exposed. I do have some Commando Fusion Marines here, but the infantry, they're not in the best position at the moment. Got a Hellcat doing a good strafing run, going to be sunning up at Firefly quite a bit, but not enough to force it to fall back. Eugene's just holding on to the town. Just as long as he can survive for an extra 5 minutes, he is going to be good, because once he hits C, he can get the tanks, he can get the planes, he got the economy to really hold out for the rest of the match. He does lose his Sherman, but that's not too bad. He still has this excellent control of his area. He's got tank busters spread all around just to ward off that Tiger. And really, Sarana needs to get some infantry to do a big assault here. It's going to be a rather pain in the butt to knock out his guys initially, but every single commando unit that he kills is vital, because that's just one less unit Yuejin needs, as he's gonna run out of infantry. Is what I'm trying to say through my broken English. Good use of smokes there to block the Tiger, and he's just gonna be repositioning the Tiger into the open field, into much better Tiger territory. And really, his Firefly hasn't done much. he's very cautious about moving it out when really he shouldn't be. There's no 17-pounder to worry about, buddy. You can move it up. Even if the Shermans do get close, they're going to have a hard time penning you. But I sort of really marked a very major mistake here from Sarana. I mean, he just needs to tack open the airfield. But instead, he's playing into Yuejin's advantage, and that is the town fighting. You do have the Panzerwerfer in array, and this is going to completely clear up this side of the town. But unfortunately for Sharana, is he doesn't have really any infantry to back up the rocket barrage, so he's not going to be able to take advantage of that push, which is a bit of a shame. He's got an anti-aircraft unit, but really he needs infantry. He needs to just get the pioneer spam rolling. And look, Yuejin, he was forced to surrender, or not surrender, but retreat from that rocket attack, but now he can just move back up into the area like nothing happened. And Tiger now moving up. Belsharon just being very cautious with his tanks. And against any other division, understandable. But against Commandos, now's not the time to be defensive. Now's the time to attack. And he does have a Messerschmitt against pretty much 3 airplanes. Not going to go too well for him, as all the Commando planes can dogfight rather efficiently. So there goes the Messerschmitt. And now we are into C, where Yuejin now has that lovely point advantage. He's got Shermans all over. He's got infantry still alive, which is extremely important, because at least he has something going into C phase now. So he's not going to be running low on those precious Commando infantry squads. We got another Panzerwerfer squad, or Panzerwerfer firing array. But once again, there's not really much infantry from Sharana to really take advantage of it. It does kill Commando snipers, so no more snipers to worry about, but really not enough. And Yuejin is still in that plus 1 point advantage, and still that Firefly has not done anything. But Yuejin, he's just holding really well. He's got the town completely under his control. Just good defensive positions, like I keep saying. And this is really where he wants to be playing. This is where he is at his most best inside of his town. And really, it's quite lucky for him that Sharana has not pushed over the airfield. I see the Commando support can hold their own really well against Panzer Grenadiers, as they fire in much faster in the MG42s themselves. They don't do as much HC, but that doesn't really matter when you have the Daka firepower. So the Panzer Grenadiers holding on. And yes, and Sarano just being very defensive here, when really he shouldn't be. He's getting a Panzer 4 now. But like I keep saying, he just needs to get a lot of pioneers in one big group and just do his best to attack into the town. He does manage to kill one Sherman with a Peasy Gren, which was pretty damn good. But this Panzer Grenadier doesn't have any real support right now. He's bringing in the bomber planes. He's got the Focke-Wulf G1 dropping in some bombs. But that C-Fire not going to be fully chasing him, because you have that Flak KT opening on field, which is a good choice. I mean, you could slowly just move it up in the open field and just shoot at any airplanes that come by, or any tanks that you see. At the same time, it is very vulnerable to 25-pounder strikes. And Yuejin, he's just still got Sherman's alive over here. The Firefly now moving up to try and counter, but it's a little bit slow in the gun, yeah. And the Tiger moving up, yo. Hopefully it doesn't get too close to that Commando Roman Marine squad. That'd be rather not advantageous. And really, Yuejin, it's been a rather static match, I will admit. He's really just hold on to his town, but really, he doesn't need to do anything else. Just as long as he's holding to the town, he can't afford to do major pushes with a lot of infantry, as he needs to keep his infantry alive. So just holding onto the ground, denying the enemy from really attacking is what allowing Yuejin to win this. He did get a good bombing strike on that Tiger here, but not enough to fully force it to fall back. But now with 17 pounders on the field and Wolverines, it's really going to be hard to do an actual tank assault open this open ground now, as the heavy guns are on the field. So yeah, it's just not looking good for Sarana. He's going to be losing the match, as you can tell. And really, the major lesson to take from this, from the Commando deck, is he fought over the town, he held onto the town, he didn't try to bite off more than he can chew, and he just did really well. Using good fire spot now to sea phase, he can pretty much just get the whole British army out, whole British Air Force, to just bomb at the enemy tanks, the 17 pounders, the crocodiles, etc., to really hold out against the Troph SS. And Sarana, he just needs to fight over that open ground. But you must have seen what could have potentially happened if Sarana did decide to do a Cromwell Firefly combo over it. Because if he was to push all the way down here, the Shermans couldn't do anything. They just could not do anything effective against the Firefly. He could have captured all the way down here, really, hold this out, and then just start pounding the town from the side and just completely surround it. Heck, he doesn't even have to do that. Just as long as he holds onto this area here, sets up a defensive rule, boom, that's like a +1, heck, almost +2 point advantage, really, for such an easy attack. But that's what you need to do against the Commando attack. You need to get tanks and vehicles, attack over open ground, and destroy them from there. And if you're playing the Commandos, you need to try and stop that as much as possible by using your Shermans and just trying to take as much advantage in the town. But good game, yeah, from Yuejin. He kept his infantry alive, which is damn important, and not taking that many losses again. Over 1,200 kill advantage. And taking on the kills, the Commando Tank Busters doing a damn good job, knocking out Panzer 2s, half tracks, 222s, Panzer Grens. The Sherman's doing really well. One of them shooting down a Messerschmitt. That's pretty good. Pretty damn good. And pretty spread out all around, really. Nothing too crazy apart from that. His infantry just held onto the ground rather well. And take a look at the history. Yeah, he didn't lose a single Commando squad till 9 minutes in the match, which is damn good. That is best case scenario, to be entirely honest. And he knocked out a lot of light vehicles, the planes, etc. He did lose some Shermans, but he could afford to lose Shermans, especially 23 minutes into the match. But yes, Sarana did make a major mistake of not taking advantage of that open ground disadvantage that Yuejin has. And I think that pretty much sums up the Commando deck. It's map dependent. It's very map dependent. And I'm going to leave it off at that. It's been another Rangru Steel Divisional overview. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as usual, please just take it easy.